June 2014, Wager Talk joined Twitter. August 2014, Prez loaded the first ever picks at Wager Talk. September 2014, Marco D'Angelo and Gianni the Greek filmed the first ever video for Wager Talk TV. Fast forward to today, and we now have over 58,000 Twitter followers, 110,000 subscribers on YouTube, and have become the premier brand in sports betting. So thank you. We truly appreciate everyone who has supported this amazing journey. And on Thursday, January 19th, at both wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com, all daily picks packages that day will be priced at $11, including any 5% best bets normally priced at $35. And all one day all access, normally priced at $39, will be cut in half and priced at only $19. No coupons will be needed. All handicappers at both Wager Talk and Sports Memo are included in Customer Appreciation Day. And discounts will go live at midnight, Wednesday, January 18th.
Happy Monday, guys. Welcome to Wager Talk TV and Puck Time. Andrew is here. I'm going to throw it to him shortly. Andrew is suffering a little bit of an upper body injury, but he can explain that to you. It's MLK Day, as you know, so there's a lot of early games out there. And I see my co-host there. He's coming in, but Andrew, a quote from Martin Luther King: "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can, and hate cannot drive out hate, only love can." MLK. So happy MLK Day to you guys. Andrew, upper body injury. How are you feeling, my friend?
Happy Monday to you, Carm. Good to be here. I'm a lot better now that I stopped bleeding. I had a nosebleed for about 30 minutes, which is never really fun. But yes, Martin Luther King Day, and I think it's important that as much as we're all excited that there's sports during the day today, that we understand, why it's a holiday and what people should be remembering and thinking about today. So obviously people are excited. People want to watch games today and things, but I think it's really important we remember the history behind today. And hopefully, honestly, Carm, as a world, we continue to take more steps, because I think that there's a lot more work to be done on the message that Martin Luther King was trying to put across. But Carm, I'm excited today because you go ahead.
No, I was going to say absolutely. And it's funny because I didn't want to segue from that hate cannot drive out hate, only love can, by referencing someone who on Friday in our Puck Time video comment section, literally, I'm not saying he ripped into me, but like, why does Carmine always pronounce names wrong or whatever? Because I got Nico Heischer as Nico Herscher, and then I corrected myself at the end. It's like, if my only fault in life is pronouncing a name wrong, I'm good with it. I'm absolutely good with it if that's the thing. Try and pronounce some of these soccer names on stoppage time, or try to do Russian hockey, but I'm going to get some names wrong. I'd be more pissed if I was getting all my games wrong as opposed to all my names wrong. But with that said, Andrew, some surprises. It's unbelievable. Some of the hockey that we saw on the weekend, some good, some bad. The Seattle Kraken, unbelievable 7-game sweep of their road trip. They were up. Excuse me. I was at a poker tournament on Saturday, and the first update, I look at my phone, I see first period, Seattle Kraken 6-1. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's 6-1. Literally everything hit. The puck line, the first period over, the game over, the regulation line, everything you could hit with the Seattle Kraken hit. And they're home tonight to Tampa Bay. But and then football. And excuse me again. Listen, on Mondays, I like to critique. I'm going to clear my throat one more time, but mute myself while doing it, Andrew. On Mondays, I like to critique my plays. I look over my weekend plays. Andrew, and see what went wrong. I want to critique football for a second. My God, some of the play calling was absolutely horrible. The Baltimore clock management, absolutely horrible on that last drive. Trying to do a quarterback over the center and at the goal line. It's three horrible plays by Baltimore on that drive, and then it goes the other way for a touchdown. Game changer. Baltimore wins that game if they get a touchdown, I believe. And then Kirk Cousins, primetime Kirk. 4th and 8, let me throw a 3-yard pass. Like, what is up with some of the play calling in the NFL? It is beyond me. Some of you are on the right side of those. Some of us were on the wrong side of those, Andrew, but I digress. Let's go back to you and some hockey, I guess, unless you have a comment.
Yeah, it's just a crazy weekend. It's a crazy weekend overall at sports. One thing I want to say, Carm, is that it's without betting, it would be so much more fun. I wish I could cheer for the upset story. Like if I have a teaser, or if I have like a side play or a first half play or a team total, or if I have props on the favorite, then I can't cheer for the Cinderella story, And a lot of times it's fun to cheer for that big underdog, right? But when you're a gambler, and if you're not on the underdog, I've got props, I've got team totals, I've got first half on the favorite, and so it kind of puts you away from that. But yeah, for myself, it was an okay weekend, Carm. I came away with a 5% winner. I had Etienne over on rushing yards. And I was a little worried they wouldn't go back to him in the second half after they needed that big comeback, but they realized they had to go through on the ground in order to win that game. But still, some I would like to have back as far as the weekend is concerned. But as far as hockey goes, Carm, we can pretty much finally say it now. We are beyond that halfway point, or we are at that halfway point now. I think we've learned a lot about these teams. I had a chance this weekend to kind of reflect, look at certain plays I've done well on, look at teams I've done well betting on, look at teams I've done really poorly betting against, and just realize that I don't think I've done my best work during the first half of the season. But the good news is I have pretty much next to no damage. I'm a little bit in the green this season, and I'm really not happy with my performance. So I'm going to challenge myself, and I'm looking forward to a really big second half, hopefully a good second half of January, and get on a good run. But I'll tell you what, our results on Puck Time have been great. We had a really fun show on Friday. And I said this on the show as well. If you're not making money betting shots on goal, guys, against the Ducks, then you might as well take Troy Terry or Trevor Zegras. And I take Troy Terry, and he gets like 5 or 6 shots. So, but again, there's lots of early day games today. We have the Panthers and Sabres. That's at 1 p.m. Eastern. Lightning, Kraken, 4 p.m. Eastern. Capitals, Islanders, 7:30. And then, of course, the Flames and Nashville. That's back to regular hours at 8 p.m. Eastern. So, Carm, without further ado, how about we jump into the games here? We'll get into it and start things off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I set up the games, Andrew. So people who are watching the show, whether you're watching it live now or just a little later on, you've got some games throughout the day that you can get some action on, and hopefully we can give you a little bit of actionable info. But yeah, as far as the weekend goes, quickly, Saturday, a 2-1 day that I thought should have been a 3-0 day. Minnesota scored a goal to make it 3-1. I had the puck line in that, and that turned out to be the only loser because that goal was called back. The skate blade a little bit offside, so that one sucked. And then yesterday was a complete reversal. The Carolina game allowed a goal with 17 seconds left to send that to overtime. I had Carolina in regulation, and that turned out to be a really bad day. I got swept the other way, so I'm not happy about that. But we move onwards, as you said. We're still in the green, and we've got a second half of the season where we've got to make some money. So let's make some money. Take us to the first game, Andrew.
Let's do it. 4 games, best bets at the end, and of course my buy and sell segment. First game here, Florida at Buffalo. Florida minus 130, Buffalo plus 110, total 6.5 here. Of course, shaded towards the over. Definitely expected when these two teams are involved in a game here, especially when they clash against each other. We don't really see a lot of defense. Carm, I have seen some 7s. Of course, when you see a 6.5 shaded as high as you see this right now, you can definitely expect it. Buffalo averaging nearly 3.8 goals per game. Florida, 3.25 goals per game, but they can be exciting. They're a team that is definitely involved in lots of high-scoring games. And the history between these clubs, well, we have seen some overs. 4 of the last 6 have gone over. It's not really a huge trend there. But as far as this Buffalo Sabres team, they had a big win streak, then they kind of cooled off a little bit. And for Florida, they have been pretty much a win one, lose one type of hockey club. but there's no doubt in my mind that they're certainly underachieving. But you have to ask yourself, at what point in time is a team underachieving, or are they just not who you thought they were? And that's kind of the way I look at things here when I talk about a matchup like this. And some people are going to look at this price and say, wow, minus 130 on the Panthers. Yeah, but that means they probably haven't been watching the Buffalo Sabres this year to realize they're actually a respectable hockey team this year. And they actually have played good hockey. And I wanted to point something out as well, because I saw this video online, Carm, and I want your take on this as well, because people love to overreact, right, on social media, Twitter, no matter what it is. Tage Thompson, who's having an unbelievable season, top 3 in scoring, obviously he plays on your favorite team. He was nothing in any conversations for the last couple years. His first year or two in the NHL, this is a guy that nobody was talking about. But nowadays in the NHL, if a player is not really good by the time they're in their second or third year, everybody wants to say they're a bust, right? It's every sports fan's new word is bust. This Buffalo Sabres team has actually shockingly developed. They've got a lot of great young players, a sneaky good little leadership core. I think that Tuck was a great player for them. And I like the plus 110. This is an opportunity where I think the old Andrew would say, Florida minus 130, that's a steal. But at plus 110 to get a Buffalo Sabres team at home that I think will compete, I think that's more of a steal, if anything. So I'll challenge Florida to go head-to-head here with Buffalo as decent favorites here and see what can happen. But I think Buffalo can protect home ice. What do you think there? And what are your thoughts on the whole bust word people are using these days?
Yeah, I don't like the bust word. We're like prisoners of the moment when you use that bust one. You're looking at a guy over 10 games, 20 games, maybe 30 games. Judge a guy on his on a full season, on a couple seasons. Listen, as far as this game goes, it's one that Florida, I think they've won the last 5 in this series, but they're not playing well on the road. I think they've lost 7 of their last 10 road games. And that was a big win for the Sabres against Nashville. They caught a Nashville team coming home off a 5-game road trip, and I don't think anyone was thinking the Sabres were going to go into Nashville and win that game. Just the way the Nashville had played, but Nashville's looked like a tired team. Going off on a tangent the last couple of games, because we're going to talk about Nashville a little later on. Sabres are scoring goals, and the Sabres can score goals. I think they're the second highest team in the East. And Andrew, they're within sniffing distance of the playoffs still. They've only played 41 games. So 3 games in hand on those teams in the 7th and 8th spot. So hypothetically, even at the halfway point, if they win those 3 games, they're actually in a playoff spot. They're close enough that they can sniff it. And if that 3-game losing streak was it for them, and they can string together some wins, you just never know. A team catches momentum. Will the Sabres make the playoffs at the end of the day? I'm not really sure. I still think they're in that 9th or 10th spot, but they need a fantastic run to do it. The total here is where I'm looking at. I have to believe that you got to bet the over. It opened at 7, and I thought it's going to come down to 6.5. The problem is the juice on the 6.5 is still at minus 130, minus 135. If you can live bet this game, that's what you probably should do as far as the total is, because if you don't get a goal within the first 3 to 4 minutes of the game, that juice will go to 6.5 minus 110, and that's where you take it. You're laying minimal juice with an over, and in a game where I expect to see a lot of goals as well too. So just a live betting tip. If there's a goal in the first 4 minutes, you just pass on the game. You can't really take it because the updated total will be 7.5. But I would bet this game. I would bet the total in game, and I do like the Sabres getting plus money at home.
Awesome. Happy we're on the same page about that. And it's hard to argue that over there, Carm, expecting some goals in this game. And, I was talking about this on Sirius XM last week about how a lot of these first period overs are hitting, but they don't seem to be hitting like with a goal in the first couple minutes. Like, you ever notice that in the NHL? Like, it's always like a feel out process for the first couple minutes. And that's why people can't give up on these first period overs when they have them, because sometimes they cash those tickets with a minute or 2 left in the period. So, you could even, if we go the first 10 minutes without a goal in this game, that'd be really nice, and you get that down even half a goal as far as the total goes. And it makes a big difference, Carm. Even just like 5-7 minutes, it makes a big difference.
Yeah. And conversely, it works the other way as well, too. Like, there have been games where it is scoreless after one, and I'm on the under. I'm like, this is great. And then you get a 5-goal second period, and you're wondering to yourself, what did I do to deserve this, right? So it goes both ways. It's a 60-minute game. We would love a Seattle Kraken Chicago game where you take the over and you can cash your ticket at the end of the first period, or 13 minutes in this case, where I think it was 6-1, 13 minutes into the game. That's an anomaly. It doesn't happen. We have to sweat it out at times. And sometimes you're waiting for that empty netter, or hoping you don't have an empty netter if you're on the under. But this is, I think someone in the comment section once said, if you're betting, you're sweating, right? And this is what it is nothing comes easy. We've got to sweat it sometimes.
I think if you were a sports bettor on the weekend, no matter what you were on, you were sweating a little bit. Speaking of those Kraken, Carm, they're in action today in their first game back after that road trip here. They're taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. And, you talk about that Chicago game. I'm almost disappointed that you brought that up, because I had that over in that game just circled, just staring at me all day, and I never ended up getting there to the window against Chicago. Last game against a road trip, playing a weak opponent. And, of course, that game flies over the total here. But Seattle been very impressive, beating, not just bottom-tier opponents, beating some teams, including the Boston Bruins, especially beating the Boston Bruins on home ice for them is huge, to go into TD Garden and take them down. But now you're starting to see some respect for them in the marketplace, right? Like, this is an expansion team that's still brand new pretty much. Got lots of speed. They're built behind their defense, built behind their goaltending, and they're starting to see production all over. But who comes knocking on the door? The team that's gone to the Cup Finals 3 straight years. For me, we're seeing the total shaded towards the undercarm. I want to get your thoughts on this. I mean, it's kind of the, two good goaltenders and stuff, but it's also the first game back at home theory as well with the overs. I mean, a lot of times that you see the overs at the last game of the road trip, which we did see against Chicago. But a lot of times you do see it the first game back at home as well here. Look, last week I had probably the biggest old takes exposed you could ever have when I said Seattle was a fade team last week, and they went on and had like the week of their lives. That's going to happen on my buy and sell segment sometimes, but I don't know if Seattle can keep this up here, but I do think we can see some goals in this game. What do you think?
Yeah, listen, I just referenced Nashville returning home off a 5-game road trip where the first 3 were very good. The last 2, they looked, and in their last 2 losses, they looked a little tired against Montreal and the Sabres, with the Sabres one being at home. But a 7-game road trip, and they're returning home. I had Tampa circled at -135. I think is a great price, and I get it. I always say, we talk about it. Don't try and catch a falling knife, because the Kraken have won 7 in a row. But they're home off that road trip, and you're getting a great price on a Tampa Bay team that are 11-4 their last 15 games. If the Kraken were playing a team that wasn't winning, a team that is maybe 6-6 or 7-7 their last 12 or 14 games, it's one thing. But Tampa Bay is playing extremely well. It's going to be a tough one, because you look at it, and of all the games that Seattle played on that 7-game road trip, the last one was probably their worst. They needed every one of those 8 goals pretty much, because Marty Jones, who's been fantastic on the road, I think he's now 12 or 13 1-1 on the road. He allowed 5 goals on that game on 27 shots. So it's not like they were defensively sound like they were the game before that, where they beat the Bruins 3-0 at the Garden. So I'm getting 135 on Tampa Bay, and that's where I'm going here. I'm not even going to look at the total. I'm going to take Tampa Bay in this game, and maybe I'm making a mistake, but I think at the end of the night, I think Tampa Bay gets this win, and we put one in the W column, Andrew. So this is not one of those banana in the tailpipe games, but I will have a banana in the tailpipe game later in this show, and I am wearing the banana shirt today. So with that said, Andrew, I don't know if you saw that. I'm wearing
Yes, sir.
the Savannah Bananas jersey today for the Banana in the Tailpipe segment, which we will do after the Washington New York Islanders game that comes up next.
Came prepared with a jersey for the segment. That's how you know you're dedicated. All right, those winners with that segment will keep coming, guys. That'll be coming up here shortly. But yeah, Carm, real quick. I mean, the Tampa Bay Lightning, they're scoring goals as well, not just Seattle. I mean, looking at the numbers that the Lightning are putting up, I mean, we saw 6 goals against Columbus, 5 against Vancouver, and 4 against St. Louis. So as much as that's not a huge 8-game winning streak, they're still playing pretty well too. But definitely could see some goals in that game overall as well. Capitals, New York Islanders. Carm, I'll throw it right back to you. I think I went first on both the games, kind of talking too much before I gave you a chance to talk about the game. So I like to have you go first sometimes. So what do you think here? The odds are pick 'em here as the Islanders play host to the Capitals.
Yeah, I get it. The odds are a pick 'em for a reason. You look at these teams, and they're basically 7th and 8th right now in the Eastern Conference, and they're separated by, what are they separated by? I think 3 points, and the Islanders have a game in hand. Minus 110 seems about the right price. You know, the Isles. The thing with the Isles is always going to be the same thing with the Isles. They got to win at home, a much needed win against the Montreal Canadiens after 4 straight losses. The Caps are a very good road team, and I think that's why the price is where it is. You know, prior to losing in Philadelphia 5-3, they had won, I think, seven straight games on the road, and then they actually have lost back-to-back to the rejuvenated Flyers that our producer is so happy about, being a Philadelphia fan himself. But I always like the Islanders at home, Andrew. I think the difference is it going to be Sorokin in goal? If it's Sorokin in goal, I tend to lean towards the Islanders at home, especially in a divisional matchup like this one. I'm not going to go much farther than that. I like the Islanders. I'm getting minus 110. They need to score, though. You cannot continue to put an output of 2 or 3 goals a game and expect to win in the NHL, and that's why they had that losing streak. But they've been a good at home. If you look at them recently, I think they've gone 4-1-1 their last 6 games at home. An OT loss to the Dallas Stars, and then a 3-1 loss to Minnesota. So again, a couple of very good sides, but they've been good at home. So I'll look for that trend to continue. Hopefully Sorokin is in goal tonight and the Isles get the win.
Well, it took a few games here, Carm, but the gloves are off here. We're head-to-head on this game. I'm looking at the Washington Capitals. I know how good the New York Islanders can be at home. I know that they're a good team to bet on at home, and they've got a great goaltender. But to me, that great goaltender is one of the main reasons why they've had any success lately, because they don't score goals at all, like you just mentioned. In their last 8 games, they've only reached the 3-goal mark 1 time. You know, it's not sustainable in this day and age in the NHL to win games by scoring 2 goals. Shockingly enough, they've done that a lot of times. They've done that several times over their past several games, winning a 2-1 hockey game. It's crazy to me to look at that. But it's not sustainable, and you can't count on your goaltender to stop 30 to 35 shots a game for you. Lots of high-danger chances, especially when you have a Washington Capitals team coming in that just lost 2 against the Philadelphia Flyers. Got a couple days off now. They're rested and should be ready. I just think that this is an Islanders team that can't trade chances, can't go goal for goal. If the Islanders win tonight 4-3, so be it. I don't think they're going to be able to score more than 3 goals. Heck, they've proven lately they can't even score 3 goals at all. So if this is a 2-1 game, maybe the Islanders win. But anything after that, I trust the Capitals offense to get going. So it's an Islanders team at home. I understand it, a great goaltender, but I got to go with the team that I expect to score more than a few goals in this game, and that's Washington. And I know some people could say to me, well, what have they done recently? They've lost to Philly, and I get that. I'm hoping that their offense comes to life here tonight. So we're head-to-head on this one, Carm, but as far as the total goes, it's 5.5, man. I just wanted to say these 5.5s keep going under. Like, I am officially done betting any 5.5s to the over, because I mentioned last week about this on the show, and it was a game involving the Islanders, and the game was 2-1. These 5.5s are low for a reason. They're there for a reason.
Yeah. No, and I listen. I get it. First of all, to the point of like the 5.5s. In Friday's 6 and 60 segment, I expected Dallas and Calgary to use Markstrom and Ottinger, their two best goalies, on a Saturday, and they win. Instead, they went with Wedgwood and Vladar, and it finishes a 6-5 game for Calgary. They score 11 goals when the total is 5.5. One of the few 5.5s that obviously didn't stay under the total. But listen, I get it. The Islanders in their last 5 losses have scored a goal in 4 of them and 2 goals in one of them. But they have scored. They can score. And you look at them, I think they put 5 in on Pittsburgh, 5 in on Florida in back-to-back games, and then 6 a couple games later. It's a team that can score, but it's a team that you cannot expect on any given night to put in 5. Is a team that is going to score you 3, or you hope scores you 3 or 4, and then their goaltending, which is their strength and their defense, gets you that win. So it's tough, and I get the liking the 5.5 here, and I'm perfectly fine with a 3-1 Islanders win. I think we're both happy with that, even though you like Washington.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be happy with that, but I'd be happy with a low-scoring game, I guess, for the lean on the under. Calgary and Nashville here. You've got a Calgary Flames team that just overall has disappointed me this season with certain games that I had high expectations for, even though I went back on them after they lost to St. Louis. I bet on them again, and they end up winning that one 4-1. And the first time they played St. Louis, they blew a lead that they had 3-1. So this is a Flames team that I think is capable of being a good team, but they just haven't showed it on a consistent basis. They're minus 140 tonight. We've got Nashville plus 120, a Nashville team that, hey, apparently I'm a Nashville hater, but they just ended, on a 3-game road skid there against Toronto, Montreal, and Buffalo. So this Nashville team had a good little run against Montreal, Carolina, Washington, Ottawa, but then kind of fell off there at the end there in their game. And I'm curious what you think about the odds here. I think they're appropriate. I think the odds makers obviously did what they had to do. But this Nashville team is a really good team at kind of waking up. And they've got a lot of good older players in their team. I think they're very well coached. I think they will snap out of it again and kind of have a better performance, but especially defensively. I think we both know that Calgary that's just kind of the team they are in general anyway. So I have a lean towards the under in this game. I don't really have much of a feel for the side, but I do think that this is a Nashville team that showed signs of brightness. Then in their last few games, they kind of collapsed a little bit. And we got a Calgary team just searching for any type of consistency, Carm. You always forecast these runs that teams are going to go on. Have you seen anything you've liked from Calgary this year that's made you want to look at them going on a run? Because they just, to me, have been far too inconsistent.
No, and I can see where you're coming from there, Andrew, but I actually do see something coming from Calgary, and it's been there for the last few weeks. The last couple of weeks, they are playing better. I get it. When you think they're going to win, they lose a game, and then you're like, "Oh, Calgary stinks. Calgary sucks." It's what people say, but that's not the case. That this team is playing well. They're 8-2, and they're on an 8-2-2 run. This team is, while they're 4th in the Pacific, they're only 7 points back of Vegas for top spot in the Pacific, and they are playing much better hockey right now. It should be Markstrom and Saros in goal. And listen, Nashville had a very good run, but yeah, you're right. They've tailed off. If you watch the game against Montreal and you watch the game against Buffalo, where they played it at home and Saros was in goal for that, they didn't play well defensively. I think they went through that great run where they kept teams at 3 goals or less. I think 20 of 23 games heading into the Montreal game, and then they allowed 4 in that one and then 5 to the Sabres. This could be the start of, it's 3 games, they've lost 3 in a row. This could be the start of a losing streak. We could be seeing the start of what is the losing streak for the Preds, because it is tough for a team to sustain that. And I don't put the Preds in the same category as I put the upper teams, the upper echelon teams like like let's say the Colorados, and I know Colorado's got injuries right now, but where Colorado reels off 14 of the 15, or even Tampa Bay, who has won 11 of their last 15 games. I don't see Nashville in that category. They're a good team with a very good goalie, because Saros is a good goalie. But when they run bad, they really run bad. And I think you're getting the Flames at minus 140 here. I think it's the right play here, taking the Flames. The Preds looked a little tired against the Sabres, and equally as such against the Montreal Canadiens. So I would want to see a much better performance from them before I take them, especially against a Flames team that I expect to score some goals tonight.
And I think, it's one of those games that I think that it could potentially have some movement throughout the day. Would you agree with that, Carm? Like we might see money on Calgary. We might see a buyback a little bit later in the day. This is a game that I think could have some movement. And obviously, with all the day games going on and with a lot of earlier games today in general in the NHL, I think it's one of those games that we could see lots of action on, lots of eyes on in this one as well. But it should be a good one. I'm looking forward to it. And I like what you said there about Calgary, Carm. The way, and you were just like blunt about it. You're like, yeah, you watch Calgary blow a lead, and you're like, they stink, because it's true. Yeah. It's like, and that's how I felt like when they blew that lead against St. Louis. Like all my buddies, they tail my picks, and they were like, what are we doing taking Calgary again? And they ended up beating St. Louis the second time. But like, that's what Calgary does to you. They make you have to say, why am I betting on this team again? But it's because we know what they're capable of. We know what they're able to do in good spots, but they're not able to show it on a consistent basis, I guess. But I'll tell you what, Carm, they're a good player prop team. And I think it's fun for us sometimes to break down player props. We don't do it every day on the show, but I think Calgary is a team that a lot of times you and I have talked about teams to bet against for player props. I think Calgary's a good team to look at. They've got Kadri, Toffoli, Huberdeau's playing a lot better. They've got a lot of different guys. Like Mangiapane is always a good player to look at. And I think even the saves prop for them has been pretty good as well. So a little bit of West Coast action if you're looking for some props in that one. But I think the other Alberta team, Carm, is probably the best prop team in the world.
Yeah. Listen, in the prop market, you've been making a lot of money with them. You had a great season last year, and it's like you said, we're into the second half of the season. We're pretty much there. I expect you to make a lot of money in props, and we're gonna incorporate it into the show. We have to, because even though some of them will make our cards over at Wager Talk, I think it's important that we give some of them out on the show. If these guys are in our chat, who are here each and every day supporting us with the comments and the likes and the comments after the video, we got to throw some of these props at them, make them some pizza money, man. It's what we do, Andrew. But with that said, Andrew, hold on a second. I think we should go to before we do your buy and sell, let's go to the banana in the tailpipe segment. What do you think?
Let's hear it. I mean, you came prepared with the uniform. Let's see what you got. You've got a winner for us today. It is a big slate in the NHL, especially for a Monday. Let's hear it, Carm. Give us a winner.
All right. So I am going to go to the the St. Louis Blues. I'm struggling with this cough today. St. Louis Blues and Ottawa Senators. That's what we're going to look at. Listen, this is the last of a 3-game road trip for the Ottawa Senators, and they got blasted 7-0 against Colorado last time out. And the Blues lost 4-2 to a very good Lightning team. It looks like an absolutely get-well spot for the St. Louis Blues here. And the books are being generous on MLK Day. They're giving you the Blues at minus 110. This is where I insert the eye roll. I'm not falling for this on the Blues minus 110. Ottawa's 3-3 their last 6 games with losses to Colorado, Nashville, and the red-hot Seattle Kraken. Ottawa's going into St. Louis today against a depleted lineup, and at minus 110, I'm putting the banana in the tailpipe, and I'm taking this play, Ottawa minus 110, as your banana in the tailpipe. And now with that, yeah, I know you love it.
I love it,
and you can feel good about it. Hopefully, we make some money on this game, and we can buy some pizza tonight. And speaking of buy, Andrew, I'm anxiously awaiting your buy and sell. So let's get to that segment.
All right, guys, this is the buy and sell segment here. Try and find a team to bet on and a team to bet against for the next week here of NHL action. Last week, I had a pretty good read on one team to bet on. Talked quite a bit last week on the show about looking at the Edmonton Oilers. A read I didn't do very well on was the Seattle Kraken. You got to own the losses as much as you own the wins. And that was kind of funny to see them go on an 8-game winning streak after I pretty much called them out for being frauds. That'll happen sometimes in the NHL. But, guys, I'm ready for this week. I've got 2 teams selected. Let's start things off with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And, guys, they are my buy team for this week. This is a Pittsburgh Penguins team that has an unbelievable top 6, a very talented group of forwards, a good goaltender, and they're falling into a schedule that I think is very beneficial for them, that will help them out quite a bit and help them get on a run. They're playing against teams that either give up lots of goals, give up lots of chances, or they're just in lots of winnable games. I'm talking about the Ducks. I'm talking about the Ottawa Senators. I'm talking about the San Jose Sharks. I'm talking about certain teams, maybe even named the New Jersey Devils these days. So this is a Pittsburgh Penguins team that I expect to have a really good week and a half here. Whether you're looking at regulations, money lines, puck lines, team totals, try and find a way, guys, this week to make some money on the Pittsburgh Penguins. And now for my sell team, we talked about this team on the show here today on Puck Time. I'm selling the New York Islanders. This is a team that puts together wins by scoring just 2 goals. I don't think that's sustainable this year in the NHL. In their last 8 games, they've only reached the 3-goal mark 1 time. That is something that you cannot be proud of as an NHL team. If I'm the coaching staff on that team, if I'm a player on that team, I'm buying dinner for the goaltenders every single night of the week, because if it wasn't for them, they would not be having any success at all. And I feel like that regression will just slap them in the face here this week in the NHL. Their schedule isn't very easy this week, and they're still not scoring many goals. I am selling the New York Islanders this week. Let's buy the Penguins, sell the Islanders, and try and make some money here in the NHL, guys. That's it for the buy and sell segment for Monday. We'll be back next week with more buying and selling here in the NHL. Best bets coming up, but I got to get your take here, Carm. I know you just talked about the Islanders earlier in the show, but it's a team that I just don't see much production out of them right now.
Well, it'll start after they win tonight. Hopefully they win tonight. But I get it. Listen, I agree with the Pittsburgh one, because they've been on a terrible run, but they've had a very tough schedule. They're getting into a good part of their schedule, so that's a very good forecasting. I think they get off that. And the thing is, when you play a team like Anaheim, you expect to beat a team like Anaheim. It gets the ball rolling. You get that sort of that monkey off your back. You start to string some wins together, and you get on a run. We've seen, and we've talked about it, we've seen a lot of streaky teams this year in the NHL. Win 8, lose 7. St. Louis Blues is one of those teams. Nashville could very well be one of those teams if they lose to the Calgary Flames tonight. It'll be 4 in a row. There are streaky teams. Teams go through this. We're going to see it. I much prefer a team like, excuse me, like the Calgary Flames, who win 3, lose 1, win 4, lose 2, because they're gaining in the standings, Andrew. But I get it with Pittsburgh, so that's a good one, and we'll see. I didn't look at the Islanders' schedule past tonight's game, but we'll see how they do. But I wish you the best of luck in this buy and sell segment. Let's get some wins up there. Let's get a banana in the tailpipe. Let's get some wins with your buy and sell, and let's get some winners out for our pucksters.
And the best bets. Let's get some winners in the best bets. I'll go to you, Carm, for your best bet here for the show.
Yeah, 3 plays up at Wager Talk thus far for NHL. There will be no soccer. I do have a play lined up for tomorrow. That's going to be a 5% NHL play. I just, the lines aren't out, so I can't really put it up on $9 Mondays, but it will be up tomorrow. As far as my show best bet, I'm going back to the game that we talked about, Calgary Flames. This is going to make my card for sure. You can get them at anywhere from, I'm seeing lines across our live lines everywhere from like 135 up to like 150. But I like the Flames tonight. I think they're playing some very good hockey right now, and I think they're going to continue to move up those Pacific divisional standings. They'll be right as rain, and they'll get it done. So let's go with the Calgary Flames tonight, minus 150, but there's some better prices out there.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, guys, shop around. Great spot there tonight for the Calgary Flames. Best bets there for Carmine, and it's $9 Monday as well. So you can get his plays over at Wager Talk for $9, as well as my 5% play tonight in the NHL for just $9, guys. I'm on a 5-1, 5% NHL run. That's what I have hit as far as this season is concerned here in the NHL. 5-1 here this season on 5% plays. I haven't released too many of them this year, guys. We're halfway through the year. I've only released 6 5% plays, but that's the record so far. And I have a winner, hopefully, for today that I really, really like. And it's a great situational bet here. So check that out, $9 over at Wager Talk. And my best bet, I talked about it early in the show. We're going with the Washington Capitals, I think, and a great bet on spot for them against the Islanders. So Capitals money line for me. Carmine has Calgary Flames here, -150. And we'll try and go 2-0, cash some tickets in the best bet segment for you guys to start the week off with some winners. Guys, enjoy all the action today. And like I mentioned at the start of the show, remember why and what we're thinking about today as well here on Martin Luther King Day. He certainly is someone that we should all be thinking about today and what he really did. And we're still got to keep making some progress in society these days as far as the messages he was trying to preach to all of us. But thanks so much for watching Puck Time, guys. We appreciate all of you, all the live comments, the likes, and everything in between. We'll see you tomorrow. Don Buster joins us here on Puck Time.
College football is over, the NFL is winding down, and as we turn our attention to the ice and hardwood until Sunday, January 22nd, we are slashing NBA, college basketball, and NHL season passes from $4.59 all the way down to $2.99 with no coupon needed. This special price locks in your favorite handicappers and the sport of your choice through the championship for pennies on the dollar versus buying daily packages. And since the price will remain $2.99 through midnight on January 22nd, the earlier you buy, the more days you get included at no additional cost. How much are you saving? College basketball comes to just $3.55 per day through March Madness, and the NBA and NHL discounts come out to just under $60 per month to lock in your favorite handicapper through the finals or Stanley Cup. Go to your favorite handicappers page at Wager Talk and or Sports Memo and lock in your sports through the championship for only $2.99 each. If you want to combine handicappers or multiple sports, email us and we can work out an even more significant discount for you.